1. 10 times. When silence is golden in life. Have you ever been close to success, only to have it all fall apart because of one careless comment? Instead of regretting after the fact, here are 10 moments during negotiations, debates, or even daily conversations where staying silent truly is golden. 1. When the other person starts contradicting their own arguments. Many people fall into a loop because they choose the wrong debate strategy. They start off on one track but end up on another, often finding flaws in their own logic and rejecting their initial proposal. Like when a customer begins negotiations by saying they understand why you can't lower the price, only to ask for a smaller discount later on. Even worse, they convince themselves the discount is still too high. In this case, the smartest move is to stay silent and let the other person fall into the trap they've set for themselves. 2. Right after you've asked a question. Some people ask questions but are too impatient, waiting eagerly for the other person to finish so they can jump in with their own opinion. Sometimes they don't even wait but interrupt with agreeing words. Yeah, right. When they ask for your advice, what they really mean is, fast forward to the part where I tell you what you should do. Don't be like them. Just as the legendary baseball star Yogi Berra said, you can observe a lot by just watching. You can also learn a lot by listening. 3. When the other person is wrong, and it's not your job to correct them. A lawyer once told me about a client's company resale deal. To put it briefly, lawyers love this phrase, the negotiations went much smoother than expected. It turned out that a promising young employee with an MBA on the buying side had made a simple calculation error, significantly inflating the deal's estimated value. The lawyer was worried until she realized what she needed to do: say nothing at all. By doing so, she didn't breach her duty to provide accurate information to the buyer and didn't jeopardize her client's deal. The lesson here is that it's not always your responsibility to fix someone else's mistakes. 4. When you don't understand the topic you're discussing. Silence can make things awkward and tense. That's why we often rush to fill the silence with something, anything. A civil litigation lawyer shared that he uses this human tendency to his advantage when taking depositions. Even if it seems like a witness has finished answering, he acts as if he's waiting for more, implying the answer wasn't sufficient. The witness then keeps talking and digs themselves into a hole. You never have to break the silence, especially when you're unsure what to say, especially in situations where anything you say could be used against you. 5. When you want others to take responsibility. U.S. President Truman once said that success comes to those who don't care about getting the credit. Instead of fighting tooth and nail to defend your point of view, sometimes if you stay quiet long enough, others will consider your proposal and bring it up themselves. 6. When you're showing off. Log into any social media platform and you'll be flooded with pictures of delicious meals, exciting vacations, and romantic love stories just like in the movies from your friends. Is this simply sharing everyday life, or is it bragging? If you feel you're updating social media more for the latter reason, perhaps it's time to keep quiet. 7. When your words are not sincere. A coworker is excited about a weekend getaway plan. Before you rush to suggest a better destination or a different time when the weather's nicer, the roads are less congested, or they have more free time, make sure your advice genuinely comes from a place of wanting them to have a great vacation, not out of jealousy or personal ego. 8. When you want others to improve. If you have a kid in elementary school, you could easily solve their homework in no time without breaking a sweat. But what's the benefit of that? You need to let the child figure out the answers themselves so they can understand and remember them. This applies to many other situations as well. Instead of immediately answering a question, sometimes it's better to step back and let others come up with the solution. 9. When you're not a good storyteller. You love to tell stories. You could share hundreds of tales, from how you met your current love to what your cat ate this morning, with someone you've just met. However, even in the midst of your storytelling, you notice the other person seems distracted and not very focused. This is a sign they're not interested in your story. At this point, you should quickly wrap it up and stop rambling. 10. When you start a speech, try beginning your speech with an unusually long silence. This will make the audience feel anxious on your behalf. Are you forgetting everything you prepared? Are you about to panic? Then, when you finally speak, at least a few people in the audience will sigh in relief and enthusiastically support you to do well in your speech. This tactic, used by Winston Churchill, is especially useful when you're debating in front of a crowd and need the audience's support. 2. Stay silent in tense situations. Silence is often overshadowed by the noise of our thoughts, words, and actions. We find ourselves constantly talking, texting, or posting on social media, filling our lives with endless conversations. However, Buddhist wisdom reminds us that there are times when silence is not only golden, but also profoundly transformative. It teaches us to recognize the power of silence and to use it wisely, especially in 10 important situations. This journey through Buddhist spiritual teachings takes us on a quest to understand the significance of maintaining silence in these situations. These lessons provide deep insights that can inspire us to live a more meaningful, harmonious, and purposeful life. Let's explore these ancient philosophical gems, embrace the peace of silence, and seek solutions for life's challenges. 1. The power of silence. Silence is more than just the absence of noise. It's a deep state of being. As said by the great Vietnamese Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh, silence is essential. We need silence just as we need air, just as plants need light. If our minds are filled with words and thoughts, we won't have any space left. Buddhism recognizes this space and encourages us to nurture it in all aspects of our lives. Silence is the gateway to inner peace, mindfulness, and self-awareness. It gives us the chance to listen not just to the world around us, but, more importantly, to the whispers of our hearts and minds. Silence is a powerful tool that can change how we interact with the world and navigate life's challenges. 2. Staying silent. When angry. Always stay silent when you're angry. This advice is profoundly wise because anger is a strong emotion that often leads to negative outcomes. When we're angry, our words and actions are driven by this intense emotion, and they can result in undesired consequences. Buddhism teaches that anger stems from attachment, aversion, and ignorance. When we cling to our desires or aversions, and when we fail to see the impermanence and interdependence of everything, anger can take hold of us. In such moments, silence is a powerful remedy. Silence gives us space to pause and reflect on the root cause of our anger. It allows us to step back and observe our emotional reactions without immediate judgment or expression. Through silence, we can practice mindfulness and introspection, gaining insight into the true origins of our anger. Moreover, silence acts as a shield against the harsh words and actions that often accompany anger. It prevents us from hurting others and ourselves. In the silence of restraint, we can protect our relationships and foster an atmosphere of peace and understanding. 3. Staying silent. When faced with gossip and insults, always stay silent when you hear gossip and insults. This lesson highlights the importance of speaking thoughtfully and the consequences of engaging in harmful communication. Gossip and insults are like toxic arrows that can harm not only the person being talked about but also the speaker. Don't become someone who specializes in gossip. Rumors can be incredibly harmful because they often don't reflect the whole truth. The story changes as it is passed from one person to another. You won't know whether someone started a malicious rumor or if it was simply a misunderstanding. Getting involved in such side conversations also shows that you are not trustworthy. When you spread others' issues or secrets, no one will trust you, and they certainly won't choose you as a confidant. Let the rumor stop with you. If you've heard something, don't pass it on. If someone tries to pull you into it, leave the conversation. 4. Staying silent in conflict. It's important to stay silent during conflicts. Conflicts are a natural part of human interactions, but how we deal with them can really affect the outcome. Buddhism encourages us to use silence as a way to respond to conflicts, highlighting the importance of mindfulness, compassion, and understanding in resolving them. Conflicts usually come from differences in opinions, values, or interests, which can lead to arguments, hurtful words, and emotional pain. In such moments, staying silent can be like a cooling balm, giving us a chance to step back, think, and respond with wisdom and kindness. Being silent in a conflict isn't about avoiding it or keeping your feelings bottled up, but rather it's about creating space for active listening, empathy, and finding common ground. By choosing silence, we allow ourselves and others to express without fear of judgment or escalation. 5. Being silent. While witnessing others' suffering, always remain silent when you witness someone else's suffering. Compassion is at the heart of Buddhism, and this lesson emphasizes the power of silence as a way to express compassion and offer comfort to those in pain. When faced with someone else's suffering, our immediate reaction might be to offer comforting words or advice. However, Buddhism believes that often silence can be more profound and compassionate. Silence conveys our presence, empathy, and willingness to listen without judgment. 6. When you're arguing with an angry person, some people use their anger to make others listen to them. Others might be dealing with their own sadness and hurt, while some seem to enjoy their anger because it makes them feel powerful. Whatever the reason, avoid arguing with angry people. It won't get you anywhere, and getting too involved might just pull you into their anger, making things worse. You can't win against someone's anger. One way to handle anger is to stay silent and not engage in the argument. Another, more challenging way is to respond with kindness. Many expect you to react with anger too, which escalates the situation. But when you respond kindly, it surprises them and leaves them unsure of what to do next. 7. When you're tempted to overshare. Sometimes we share too much in conversations with others. Remember, revealing too much personal information too soon in any relationship can be a bad idea. It's better if your conversations are positive and light, staying away from sensitive topics like religion, politics, and money. Give your friendship or any other relationship time to grow before you delve into more private matters. Everyone needs the chance to get to know each other and decide if they want to be friends. Often, it's better to be cautious than to rush. 8. When you feel like complaining. Sometimes, complaining can make you feel better. The right time to complain is when you notice something wrong that needs fixing or an issue that needs to be addressed, and others might not see the problem. However, the catch is that complaining makes you focus more on the problem. You're wasting your time and energy, which you could have used to solve the issue instead. 9. When you don't know the answer. It's better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt, Abraham Lincoln once said. Staying silent is a great choice when you don't understand what's going on. It might be a debate on a topic you're not really familiar with. Don't be afraid to admit that you don't know much about that area. In fact, being silent can be more valuable as it opens up the opportunity for others to share their knowledge. 10. When you're tempted to lie. Remember, Once people catch you lying, they'll never fully trust you again. The exception to this rule is when lying is necessary for your personal safety. If a lie is what it takes to keep yourself safe, you might choose that path. But in most cases, it won't come to that. You also shouldn't get involved in someone else's lies or schemes. It's best to protect your own honesty by either staying quiet or refusing to answer. In summary, Buddhist wisdom gives us deep insights into the transformative power of silence in 5 crucial situations: anger, gossip and insults, conflict, witnessing others suffering, and experiencing our own suffering. In these moments, silence serves as a foundation for mindfulness, compassion, and personal growth. Silence is not a passive or indifferent stance, but a conscious choice to create space, listen, reflect, and respond with wisdom and compassion. It aligns with the principles of right speech, compassion, and non-attachment as outlined in the Eightfold Path. By choosing to remain silent in these situations, we empower ourselves to transform negative emotions, cultivate compassion, and foster understanding, helping to protect our relationships, reduce harm, and contribute to a more harmonious and connected world. By learning to be present, listen deeply, and embrace the healing power of silence, we integrate these teachings into our daily lives, embarking on a journey of self-discovery and personal transformation, moving closer to the Buddhist ideals of reducing suffering, developing mindfulness, and awakening to the interconnectedness of all beings. In the profound silence of these 5 situations, we find the space we need to live more mindfully, compassionately, and authentically. 3. The 3 benefits of silence. Silence is a language, a subtle reply. If you grasp its deeper meaning, you'll learn 3 invaluable life lessons. 1. Silence for learning. When others criticize or even slander you, don't get angry. If their criticism is valid, thank them and improve yourself. No one is perfect, so never deny your flaws. Also, don't get mad when hearing opposing viewpoints, no matter how harsh the words may be. Remember, responding to bitterness with bitterness won't make grudges or hatred disappear. Sometimes those who insult and criticize us are actually our greatest benefactors. 2. Silence for forgiveness. If someone wrongs you, even humiliates or robs you, stay silent and forgive. Life is full of suffering. Some wounds inflicted by others might take a long time to heal, but harboring resentment won't change the present. Cursing won't sincerely earn you an apology. The resentment you hold only decays your heart. So, instead of speaking, act in a way that those who underestimated and harmed you will come to respect and feel ashamed. 3. Silence for growth. Living in this world, everyone experiences suffering. When sad, sharing can be essential for peace of mind. But sometimes speaking too much, especially to the wrong person, can make you appear weak. Even worse, your sorrow might become gossip fodder for others. No one understands your pain better than you do. Sometimes, being silent helps you find inner peace and prevents others from being troubled by things that don't concern them. Set your ego aside, peacefully observe life, accept your own shortcomings, and forgive all grievances. This is the core value of silence. Achieving this means you've truly matured.
Hey everyone, your comments truly matter, offering insights and motivation to others and uplifting our creative team at Lighthouse of Wisdom channel. Sharing your thoughts and experiences enriches our community. So, let's get the conversation started below and help illuminate our path with your wisdom.
4. Finding peace within. When we think about silence, we often associate it with loneliness, feeling disadvantaged, or being in a bad mood. However, for those who are religious, especially Buddhists, moments of silence are crucial for spiritual life amid the noise of everyday existence. Losing touch with our inner silence means losing touch with ourselves. And when we lose touch with ourselves, we lose ourselves in the world of appearances. During this time of quiet, I've been reflecting on the meaning of silence. I've realized how hard it is for many of us to simply allow ourselves to be silent, meaning to really shut off all the external voices, demands, and impulses that keep our thoughts and reasoning in a constant loop. We live in a world filled with too much stimulation, too much noise. I often remind myself it's surprising to hear my own thoughts amid the surrounding noise. Our daily lives reveal that our true essence, which is inseparable from silence, is what truly defines us. Silence is our true essence. What is silence? It is the space within us, the awareness that turns the words on this page into concepts and thoughts in our heads. Without this awareness, there would be no concepts, no ideas, no world, and we wouldn't know our true nature, often getting lost in the world of appearances. This means we chase after gains and losses, engage in struggles and addictions to fill the void and pain of losing our roots and essence. We lack internally but seek externally to fill the emptiness. Silence is not just the absence of sound or not having any thoughts in our head. True silence is finding peace within, not outside. Silence is crucial because it's the emptiness that allows everything else to fill and overflow. People are accustomed to noise, and too much silence can be unsettling because it awakens our inner anxieties. But silence is about connecting with ourselves. When we understand and are close to our inner selves, we never feel anxious. It's only when we're restless and out of control that we feel nervous, conflicted, and chaotic. The secret to silence is doing one thing at a time with full focus, putting almost all our mind into that one activity. When we concentrate, we truly listen to others. Without this focus, we hear sounds without grasping the deeper meaning. Our silence has a tremendous energy and impact on those around us. If we are truly attentive in silence, this energy is usually positive, showing care, attention, and healing to others. This is the power of silence. Silence of the heart and mind. The voice of our inner self is silence. A profound internal silence calms the screams of desire and the external world from penetrating our consciousness. When our inner voice guides us toward spiritual growth, without clinging to anything or holding grudges, our minds truly find peace. In this silence, we understand everything. Alone, we don't feel lonely or bored, as Nguyen Kong Tru once said, wishing to leave when at home and to return when away. In today's modern life, people are more tired, suffering, and lonely despite having more conveniences. The need for satisfaction increases, yet people suffer more. In a world full of inner turmoil and external chaos, allowing our minds to rest, slow down, and meditate is crucial. This constant inner turmoil combined with the fast-paced external world can be disastrous. Our culture makes finding silence difficult, as we often sacrifice much to overcome the fear of silence. Many people, in pursuit of a comfortable life, work tirelessly from dawn to midnight, leaving no private time for quiet reflection or to appreciate the world. When the mind is unsettled, even opportunities can make us feel fearful and endlessly lonely. This kind of quietness no longer brings joy and peace but pain and emptiness. Let's put aside life's worries, listen to our souls, and converse with them to live a serene, high-quality life. A person with a peaceful inner self is powerful and successful. Moreover, they are resilient, not easily swayed by external criticisms. Everyone has their own life and ways of living. Some choose to stay detached and happy, some immerse themselves in commitments, and others risk it all for their passions. Life is harder than we think. It's not always happy or joyful. There will be times of sadness, tears, and defeat. In this chaotic and complex world, every step is a careful consideration to avoid mistakes. But by believing in ourselves, taking a moment of quiet reflection, we can find our goals and move forward confidently. Then, the world will make way for us, and we will find the right path for ourselves. The voice of our inner self is always the most honest. It guides our hearts to love, connect with others, and enlightens our minds to transform wonders for ourselves and enrich life. 5. Roots and branches. Once upon a time, there was a young man who always liked to show off in front of others. One day, his master took him to a tree and asked, "Do you think the top of this tree is beautiful?" "Of course, the top is blooming with fresh flowers, so beautiful," the disciple quickly replied. Just then, a gust of wind blew, and the tree made a rustling sound. The master asked again, "Do you hear that?" "Certainly. The sound of the treetop is so clear and pleasant," the young man eagerly responded. "But do you know what the top of the tree is called in Chinese? It's called mat." After saying this, the master pointed to the base of the tree and said, "Do you see the roots of the tree? Do you hear any sound from the roots?" The young man furrowed his brows and answered, "Well, the roots are buried in the ground. How can I see them? Moreover, the roots are silent. How can I hear them, master?" "But do you know what the roots are called in Chinese? They are called ben," the master explained. This means, although the flower-filled top of the tree can sway and attract the attention of those around, it is very fragile and a strong wind can easily break it, leaving it worthless afterward. The roots, however, even though they are silent and even buried under the ground, are the foundation of life. Without them, there would be no tree, no leaves, branches, and of course, the flowers on the top of the tree wouldn't have the chance to sway and show off in the wind. Do you understand what I'm saying? The young man bowed his head and nodded slightly, absorbing the lesson from his master. From then on, he became more reserved, spoke more thoughtfully, and especially never showed off in front of others again. 6. The power of silence. Being alive and walking on this earth is a miracle, yet many of us rush around looking for happiness in some distant place, as if there's somewhere better to be. We spend so much time searching for joy while the world around us is filled with wonders. The beauty of nature calls to us every day, every hour, but we seldom hear it. To truly hear and respond to these calls, we need silence. Without inner quiet, if our minds and hearts are filled with noise and chaos, we won't hear the beauty that's calling us. Our minds are like a radio that's always on, constantly churning out thoughts. This noise prevents us from hearing life's call, the call of love. Our hearts are calling us, but we can't hear. Mindfulness is the practice of quieting the noise within us. Without mindfulness, we get caught up in regrets, sadness from the past, reliving memories, suffering through old pains again and again. We get stuck in the prison of the past. We can also be pulled by the future. Those worried or fearful about what's to come are trapped just like those bound by the past. Fear, worry, and confusion stop us from hearing the call of happiness, making the future another kind of prison. Even when we try to be present, our minds scatter and feel empty, as if there's a huge void within. We might wait and hope for something exciting to happen, something to change our circumstances, because our current lives seem dull and uninteresting. Mindfulness is like a bell that reminds us to stop, be silent, and listen. We can use a bell or any signal to remind us not to get carried away by external noise and the chatter within. When we hear the bell, we pause, follow our breath, and make space for silence. We can remind ourselves, breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. By mindfully breathing in and out, focusing only on our breath, we can calm the inner noise, the internal dialogue about the past, the future, or our desires. Just a few seconds of mindful breathing can wake us up to the fact that we are alive and breathing. We are here. We exist. The internal noise instantly disappears, replaced by a vast, deep space, powerful and profound. We can then respond to the beauty around us. I am here, I am free, and I am listening. What does I am here mean? It means I am alive. I am truly present because I am not lost in the past, the future, thoughts, or the noise within and without. To be truly present, we must be free, free from thoughts, worries, fears, and desires. I am free is a powerful statement because, in reality, many of us are not free. We lack the freedom to listen, to see, and to be present. At Plum Village, a meditation center in southern France, there's a practice called noble silence. It's simple. Speak when necessary, but when eating, walking, or working, just do those things. Don't multitask. Engage in these activities in joyful, profound silence, giving us the freedom to hear our deepest callings. Recently, during an outdoor meal with both monks and lay people, everyone gathered food and sat down together on the grass. We formed concentric circles, sitting in complete silence. I was the first to sit. I sat and breathed mindfully to establish inner silence. I listened to the birds, the wind, and appreciated the beauty of spring. I didn't wait for everyone to sit down to start eating. I simply sat, relaxed, and enjoyed the surroundings for about 20 minutes while others got their food and settled down. There was silence, but not as profound as I've experienced before, perhaps because people were distracted while getting their food. I sat in silence and reflected. I had a small bell with me. When everyone was seated, I rang the bell. Since everyone had been practicing listening to the bell and mindful breathing all week, they listened attentively. The silence after the first mindful bell was different. It was true silence because everyone stopped thinking and focused on their breathing. We breathed together in silence, and this collective silence created a powerful energy field. This kind of silence could be called thunderous silence because it's so powerful. In this silence, I could hear the wind and the birds more clearly and vividly than before. I had heard them before, but not like this, because the silence hadn't reached its deepest level. Practicing thunderous silence to quiet the noise within isn't difficult. A little practice goes a long way. With thunderous silence, we can walk, sit, and enjoy a meal. In such silence, we have the freedom to live joyfully and appreciate life's mysteries. With this silence, we can heal our body and mind. We have the ability to live, to be present. Because we are truly free, we escape the regrets and pains of the past, the fears and doubts about the future, and all the internal monologues. Silence alone is beneficial, but shared silence can generate a vibrant, healing collective energy. Silence is often thought of as the absence of sound, but it can also be a profound sound itself. I remember the winter of 2013 to 2014. It wasn't very cold in France, but North America was freezing. There were more snowstorms than usual, and temperatures dropped to minus 20 degrees Celsius. I saw images of Niagara Falls at its coldest. The waterfalls had frozen, and the water couldn't flow. The waterfalls and their sound had stopped. I was struck by this image. The waterfalls had stopped along with their sound. About 40 years ago, during a retreat for young people in Chiang Mai, northeast Thailand, I was near a stream and could always hear the water flowing. I enjoyed my breath, washed my clothes, and rested on the large rocks by the stream. Whenever I was present, I could hear the water. Day and night, the sound was the same. I looked at the surrounding bushes and thought, since they were born, they have heard this sound. If the sound stopped, for the first time, they would hear the sound of silence. Let's imagine this. Suddenly, the water stops flowing, and all the plants that have grown from the stream, that have always heard the waterfall, no longer hear anything. Imagine their surprise when they hear silence for the first time. In Buddhism, a bodhisattva is someone with great love and compassion, dedicated to relieving the suffering of all beings. Buddhism speaks of the bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara as the one who listens deeply. Avalokiteshvara means the one who listens deeply to the cries of the world. According to Buddhist tradition, Avalokiteshvara can hear all sounds and emit 5 healing sounds. If we can listen to the silence within, we can hear these 5 sounds. The first sound is the wonderful sound, the sound of life's mysteries calling us. This includes the sounds of birds, streams, rain, etc. God is a sound. The creator of the universe is a sound. Everything begins with sound. The second sound is the observing sound, the sound of one who observes life. This is the sound of listening, the sound of silence. The third sound is the Brahman sound. This is a transcendental sound with a long history in Indian spirituality, the sound Om. According to this belief, Om has an innate power to create the world. The universe was created by this sound. In the Christian Bible, John also expresses a similar idea. In the beginning was the Word. According to the Vedas, India's oldest scriptures, the word that created the world is Om. In the Indian Vedic tradition, this sound is the ultimate reality, or God. Many modern astronomers hold a similar belief. They search for the universe's origin, hypothesizing that the universe began with the Big Bang. The fourth sound is the ocean tide sound. This sound represents the Buddha's call. The Buddha's teachings can remove misunderstandings, dissipate afflictions, and transform all suffering, deeply penetrating and effective. The fifth sound is the surpassing world sound, the sound that transcends worldly sounds, escaping all worldly chatter. This is the sound of impermanence, reminding us not to get stuck or entangled in any particular sounds or words. Many scholars have made the Buddha's teachings complex and difficult to understand. But what the Buddha taught is very simple and not caught in words. Therefore, if the Buddha's teachings seem too complicated, it's not the Buddha's voice. If what we hear is too loud, too noisy, too harsh, it's not the Buddha's call. We can hear this fifth sound anywhere, even in prison, transcending worldly noise. When we can quiet the noise in our heads, we can establish our body and mind in silence, a thunderous silence. We begin to hear our deepest callings. Our hearts are calling us, but we can't hear because our minds are filled with noise. Day and night, we're pulled in different directions. Our minds think non-stop, especially negative thoughts. In daily life, many of us spend most of our time pursuing material and emotional comforts, what we call our daily concerns. We're busy with these: how to make enough money, have enough food, housing, and other materials. Along with material concerns, we have emotional ones, whether someone special loves us, whether our jobs are secure. We might seek a comfortable, easy relationship to survive. We look for something to rely on and support us. We worry all day about these issues, consuming all our time. We might devote 99.9% of our time to these daily concerns, material comforts, emotional comforts. This is understandable because we need our basic needs met for a sense of security. But many of us worry beyond our needs. Our bodies are healthy, we have enough to eat, a place to live, yet we're still anxious. Meanwhile, our deepest concerns might go unrecognized, unheard. Each of us has ultimate concerns unrelated to material and emotional ones. What are we doing with our lives? We're here, but why? Who are we? These are typical issues, but we don't have time to address them. This isn't a philosophical issue. Without answering these questions, we won't have peace or joy in life because there can be no joy without peace. Many of us feel we can never answer these questions. But with mindfulness, if we have a little inner silence, we can hear the answers. We can find answers to these questions and hear our heart's deepest calls. When asking, "Who am I?" with enough time and effort, we might find astonishing answers. We might see we are a continuation of our ancestors. Our parents and ancestors are fully present in every cell of our bodies. We are their continuation. We don't have a separate self. Without our parents and ancestors, we wouldn't exist. We might see we're made of many elements, like water. Without water, we couldn't exist. We're made of the earth element. Without it, we couldn't exist. We're made of the air element. We desperately need air. Without it, we couldn't live. So, if the air element were removed, we couldn't exist. We also have the fire element within us, the element of heat and light. We know we're made of sunlight. Without sunlight, nothing on earth could exist. Continuing to reflect, we might see we're made of the sun, one of the largest stars in the galaxy. We also know the earth, and we are made of stars. Therefore, we are stars. We're not just the small physical beings we often think we are. On clear nights, looking up at the sky, we can see we are the stars above. Mindfulness gives us the space and inner quiet to look deeply and discover who we are, what we want to do with our lives. We no longer feel the need to chase meaningless pursuits. We've run too much seeking something because we think it's important for our happiness and peace. We force ourselves to achieve this and that for happiness. We believe we're not yet qualified to be happy, so we develop a habit many fall into, always chasing one thing after another. I can't be at peace now. I can't stop to live happily because I need a few more conditions to be happy. In reality, we've extinguished our joy of living, our birthright. Yet life is full of mysteries, including wondrous sounds. If we can be present, if we are free, we can be happy right now, here. We don't need to run anymore. Practicing mindfulness is simple. Stop, breathe, and calm your mind. Return to your true home to enjoy life right now, here, every second, every minute. All life's mysteries are already here. They're calling us. If we can listen to them, we can stop. What we need is silence. Stop the noise in our minds so we can hear life's wondrous sounds, and we can start living our lives truly and deeply. 7. To achieve a mind as calm as water, one must understand the art of letting go. A Zen master once said, "For one to have a mind as serene as water, the key is to be able to overlook the mental disturbances of fame and gain, and to discard the disturbances of love and desire." Hence, to achieve this, one must know how to let go. Indeed, in a life filled with conflicts, many people are restless and unsettled simply because they place too much importance on themselves. A tranquil mind can give birth to wisdom. A mind as calm as water signifies a high level of intelligence. In the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, there is a story about Zhuge Liang's empty fort strategy during his defeat at Nai Din. When he learned that Sima Yi was approaching Xicheng with an army of 150,000, Zhuge Liang, who had only 2,500 soldiers to defend the city, did not panic. Instead, he calmly played the zither with two boys beside him, leaning against the city's railing. As Sima Yi and his troops arrived and witnessed this scene, they were perplexed. After listening to Zhuge Liang play for a moment, Sima Yi ordered a swift retreat. Zhuge Liang's calm and undisturbed zither playing had scared Sima Yi away. This is akin to remaining unfazed even as a mountain collapses before your eyes, or not blinking an eye as a deer dances beside you. Such extraordinary composure is certainly beyond the reach of an ordinary person. 8. Silence as the true Dharma. Just like speaking as the true Dharma, the phrase silence as the true Dharma is a Buddhist saying that is sometimes echoed in Zen circles. It serves as a reminder, especially to monks and nuns, to cultivate and guide their minds in a way that aligns with the true Dharma, or to apply their minds as the Buddha taught. This means shaping and developing the mind according to the Dharma to gradually move away from the factors that cause distress and suffering, aiming for liberation, detachment, cessation, peace, insight, enlightenment, and nirvana. In the Arya-Pariyasan Sutta from the Majjhima Nikaya, the Buddha emphasizes two important practices for monks, discussing the true Dharma, Dhammacatha, and maintaining the noble silence, Aryatin Hava. The former implies that monks should focus on learning, studying, and discussing Buddha's teachings to understand their meaning, method, and the purpose of practicing the Dharma. The latter, maintaining the noble silence, suggests a focused practice or adherence to Buddha's teachings, specifically meditation or inner development as taught by the Buddha. Monks commit to Buddha's path to end suffering and experience the bliss of nirvana. Therefore, studying the scriptures and practicing meditation are both valid and important pursuits. They study to find peace for themselves and to show others how to experience it. After studying, they meditate. After meditating, they return to the scriptures. Monks who diligently engage in these simple practices are considered to have done much and are worthy of respect and reverence. So what does it mean to practice silence as the true Dharma, or to develop the mind as the Buddha taught? Typically, we understand silence to mean keeping quiet, not speaking, not uttering a word. For example, when a classroom is noisy before a lesson starts, the teacher might enter and ask everyone to return to their seats and be quiet. Soon after, the classroom becomes silent, with no more chatter. The students are silent and no longer talking to each other, listening to the teacher's lecture. However, their thoughts and ideas might still be active in their minds. This is external silence, not silence as the true Dharma. Silence as the true Dharma refers to inner silence, the quietude of the mind. It means stopping, quieting the thoughts, reflections, discriminatory notions, deluded consciousness, and miscellaneous thoughts. It's an inner silence, a result of profound and fundamental mind training in Buddhism. The Majjhima Nikaya recounts how, when the bandit Angulimala tried to chase the Buddha with the intent to harm him, Buddha used his powers to make it so that Angulimala couldn't catch up, despite Buddha walking calmly. Unable to catch up, Angulimala called out for Buddha to stop. Buddha replied that he had already stopped, while Angulimala had not. Confused, Angulimala wondered how Buddha could say he had stopped when he was still walking, and he had stopped chasing but was told he hadn't. Buddha explained that he had stopped because he had ended all thoughts of harming sentient beings, while Angulimala, though physically stopped, still harbored thoughts of harm in his mind. Silence as the true Dharma initially means stopping or ending harmful, unwholesome thoughts. Broadly, Buddha spoke of the lifestyle of silence as the true Dharma, or the method for purifying and developing the mind, adicita bhavana. O monks, when a monk practices for the higher mind and still has coarse defilements such as bodily misconduct, verbal misconduct, mental misconduct, he is wise, reflective, abandons them, cleanses them, puts an end to them, does not let them arise. After doing so, having completed that, a monk practicing for the higher mind still has medium defilements such as sensual desire, ill will, harm. He is wise, reflective, abandons them, cleanses them, puts an end to them, does not let them arise. Having done that, completed that, a monk practicing for the higher mind still has subtle defilements such as thoughts of family, thoughts of country, thoughts of not being despised. He is wise, reflective, abandons them, cleanses them, puts an end to them, does not let them arise. After doing so, completing that, only the phenomena of seeking, thoughts about the Dharma, remain. Such concentration is not peaceful, not supreme, not attained by tranquility, not attained by concentration, but is a state of continual suppression. But in time, O monks, the mind of such a one becomes inwardly steadied, composed, unified, concentrated. This concentration is peaceful, sublime, attained by tranquility, attained by concentration, depending on whatever dharma such a mind is directed to for overcoming, for realization. Such a one has the ability, the capacity to attain that dharma regardless of the state. According to Buddha, silence as the true dharma, or the practice of transforming and elevating consciousness, has various levels. First is the practice of eliminating unwholesome bodily and verbal actions, particularly stopping or quieting unwholesome mental tendencies like lust, hatred, and wrong views, also known as the practice of purifying mental actions. Buddha described, such a one has no covetousness, no greed for others' property, thinking, may the possessions of others become mine. Such a one has no ill will, does not raise harmful intentions, thinking, may these sentient beings live self-afflicted, with mutual enmity, without tranquility, in suffering. Such a one has right view, not holding to perverse views. There is giving, there is offering, there are sacrifices, there are good and bad actions, there is result of actions, there is this life, there is another life, there is mother, there is father, there are spontaneously arisen beings. In this world there are ascetics and Brahmins who are true and rightly practice, who having known and realized for themselves this world and the other world proclaim them. Similarly, one strives to stop or quiet unwholesome seeking thoughts like sensual seeking, directing the mind towards objects of lust, ill will seeking, thinking unfriendly thoughts about others, harm seeking, thinking about harming others or falling into wrong views, or unwholesome thinking like lustful thinking, thought streams tied to lust, ill will thinking, thought streams related to hatred, harmful thinking, thought streams related to harming oneself and others. Buddha reminded, O monks, here a monk, rightly understanding, does not accept a risen lustful thought, abandons it, eliminates it, annihilates it, does not let it exist, does not accept a risen ill will thought, abandons it, eliminates it, annihilates it, does not let it exist, does not accept a risen harmful thought, abandons it, eliminates it, annihilates it, does not let it exist, does not accept a risen unwholesome, evil dhammas, abandons them, eliminates them, annihilates them, does not let them exist. The Vitakka Santhana Sutta clearly states 5 methods to stop or quiet unwholesome thoughts. 1/thinking about a different wholesome matter, 2/considering the dangers of unwholesome thoughts, 3/stopping or cutting off the thought stream, 4/adjusting the operation, intending towards the bodily and the tranquil abiding of unwholesome thoughts until quiet, 5/clenching the teeth, pressing the tongue against the roof of the mouth, using the mind to control the mind, subdue the mind, defeat the mind. Another aspect is quieting the 5 hindrances, nivarana, or the 5 factors that obstruct wholesome mind and blur wisdom, including sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and remorse, and doubt. Monks must constantly purify themselves internally, making the mind clear and quiet, free from unwholesome dhammas and obstacles like sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and remorse, and doubt, not letting them arise and cloud the mind. Buddha called such effort mindful vigilance. We must be mindful and vigilant. During the day, walking or sitting, we must cleanse the mind from obstacles. During the night, In the first watch, walking or sitting, we must cleanse the mind from obstacles. In the middle watch of the night, we must lie in the lion's posture, on the right side, one foot on the other, mindful and fully aware, thinking of the moment of waking. In the last watch of the night, upon waking, walking or sitting, we must cleanse the mind from obstacles. The next step in the process of training the mind as the Buddha taught, or practicing the lifestyle of silence as the true Dharma, is the transformation of consciousness, or the practice of higher mind, adhicitta bhavana, through the 4 stages of jhana attainment. This is the situation of the mind having distance from or being absent of the hindrances, lust, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and remorse, doubt, and beginning to develop on the basis of the arising and ceasing of the jhana factors, applied thought, sustained thought, rapture, pleasure, one-pointedness, making the mind increasingly clear, peaceful, concentrated, pure, and unified. Buddha spoke of these 4 stages of development of the mind. O monks, a monk, having abandoned these 5 hindrances, impurities of the mind that weaken wisdom, free from lust, free from evil, unwholesome states, attains, and dwells in the first jhana, a state of joy and pleasure born of detachment with applied and sustained thought. Further, O monks, a monk, with the stilling of applied and sustained thought, attains and dwells in the second jhana, a state of joy and pleasure born of concentration, with internal tranquility and unification of mind, without applied and sustained thought. Further, O monks, a monk with the fading away of joy dwells equanimous, mindful and clearly comprehending, experiencing pleasure with the body, which the noble ones describe as dwelling in equanimity, mindful and happily, attains and dwells in the third jhana. Further, O monks, a monk with the abandoning of pleasure and pain, and with the previous disappearance of joy and grief, attains and dwells in the 4th jhana, neither painful nor pleasant, and purified by equanimity and mindfulness. Another form of practice that embodies the lifestyle of silence as the true Dharma, or guiding the mind as the Buddha taught, is the practice of mindfulness in daily life. Monks, when going forward and returning, be aware of what you are doing. When looking ahead and looking away, be aware of what you are doing. When bending and extending your limbs, be aware of what you are doing. When wearing your robes and carrying your bowl, be aware of what you are doing. When eating, drinking, chewing, and tasting, be aware of what you are doing. When defecating and urinating, be aware of what you are doing. When walking, standing, sitting, sleeping, waking, speaking, and keeping silent, be aware of what you are doing. While he lives thus ardently, energetically, diligently, his memories and intentions related to the household life are abandoned, and with their abandoning, his mind becomes steadied internally, quieted, brought to singleness, and concentrated. This is the practice of settling the mind in the present Dharma, manifested through attentive awareness and wakefulness about every activity in everyday life, taking these activities as objects of mental attention, settling the mind, not letting the mind wander and worry about this and that. In other words, this is a method of quieting all thoughts related to daily sensory activities due to the mind's focus and wakefulness on the present Dharma, preventing delusory thoughts from arising, eliminating the appearance of self-conception expressed in the form of memories, fantasies, or miscellaneous thoughts. Silence here equates to a mind that is clear, aware, quiet, liberated, at ease, completely free of all discriminative thoughts, all comparative thoughts, all self-related thinking. That is the liberated mind, unattached, undisturbed, untainted, free of greed, hatred, delusion, free of afflictions, sorrow at ease, vividly manifested in everyday life. In summary, silence as the true Dharma implies the method of practicing and training the mind according to the Buddha's teachings, gradually purifying and developing the mind to achieve clarity, peace, concentration, purity, liberation, and ease. It is an internal discipline capable of quieting the inner self, leading the mind towards purification and liberation. Buddhists are encouraged to maintain the silence of the noble ones, or practice silence as the true Dharma, because it is the characteristic lifestyle of the enlightened and the soul path, Ekayano Mago, for Buddhists to find true tranquility amidst the constant turmoil and suffering of life. 9. Strength from solitude. According to Zhuangzi, coming alone and going alone is the highest state a person can reach. Those who achieve this are like unmatched masters, isolating themselves for training and then becoming invincible. Being alone is about gathering all your energy to overcome flaws, marking the start of true strength. Zhuangzi once wrote, "The vast and beautiful universe doesn't lecture. The seasons follow their course without discussion, and all things contain wisdom without showing off." The natural world indeed embodies profound truths, but has always been silent and actionless, unlike restless hearts that prefer endless chatter. In this world, no one can escape solitude. We're born alone and die alone. Today we gather, tomorrow we part. No companionship lasts forever. Talking with others might ease loneliness, but it doesn't cure it. The more you talk, the emptier you might feel, and when you stop, loneliness can engulf you again. Sometimes it's better to digest things on your own. Sharing might turn your concerns into jest. Don't waste your alone time. Only in silence, without fear, and in solitude can you truly understand how to change the course of events. Some say that only by crossing the desolate Gobi Desert can one find a refreshing spring. Life is a long journey walked alone. Empty talk is less valuable than maintaining inner peace. Being alone means understanding yourself. Some say that crowds are just gatherings of lonely people. Solitude, on the other hand, is freedom. Alone, one discovers their true self and frees their inner world. Those who socialize are still searching, but few find a soulmate. Those who seem indifferent in solitude are actually understanding themselves, becoming their own best friend. Solitude allows us to spend time with ourselves, doing what we truly want. Even alone, we can feel at ease and free. People who are insincere often live tiresomely. Bending to others only diminishes their own worth. Life is precious, so don't let idle talkers waste your valuable time. True solitude allows avoiding outside interference and maintaining inner freedom. Strengthening yourself in solitude. There's a saying, either be alone or be common. All who are self-reliant must face challenges alone. Don't fear hardship. What doesn't defeat you ultimately strengthens you. Every successful person has fought their way up alone through tough times. Behind every triumph are pains and tears. Learn to endure solitude, making it a habit like an eagle, rather than flocking with the sheep for a false sense of security. After a period of solitary cultivation, one's spirit becomes firm, and wisdom is enlightened. Then your work style becomes strategic, swift as the wind, steady as a forest, aggressive as fire, immovable as a mountain, inscrutable as the night, and thunderous as a storm. Those who walk alone are formidable. Such a person rarely fails in life. Solitude is the best way to strengthen oneself. Throughout history, sages preferred solitude, and truly strong individuals tend to walk alone. Solitude gives us time to reflect, away from the hustle and bustle of society, returning us to peace. Being alone makes us resilient, independent of others' strength and unaffected by their judgments. So, cherish your time alone, live truthfully to yourself, and achieve personal greatness within our limited time. 10. ZIYA, the 3 key moments of life. There's a saying, to be unaware of Zhang Taigong is to waste one's time reading history. ZIYA is indeed a historical figure. Although he didn't possess miraculous powers as depicted in the investiture of the gods, he is the epitome of the phrase, talented but late bloomer. If we talk about people achieving fame and success in their later years, ZIYA is second to none. In his early years, he faced numerous hardships, and it wasn't until he was over 70, living quietly by the Wei River, unknown to the world. Yet, as the story goes, Zhang Taigong fishes, and those who are willing will take the bait. At over 80, he met King Wen of Zhou, who was seeking wise individuals, and finally had his chance to shine. From then on, he assisted King Wen and King Wu, achieving great successes that have made him legendary. The life of ZIYA teaches us that success is not about when it happens, but about 3 critical moments. 1. Embracing solitude. The poet Li Bai once said, "Throughout history, the wise and saintly have often been solitary." This perfectly describes ZIYA. After the decline of the Ji family, ZIYA retreated to live in seclusion by the Wei River until he was 80 years old, when King Wen of Zhou invited him to leave his seclusion. During his time in solitude, he spent at least 2 years and 4 months alone. To others, ZIYA seemed like a nobody, an old man who didn't look particularly smart, especially because who fishes with a straight hook? But little did they know, this seemingly feudal old man was actually very patient, a trait he demonstrated through his fishing. He was also knowledgeable in literature and strategy. During his years alone, ZIYA, though lonely, continually charged his batteries, ready to make his move when the time came. It's been observed that successful people often handle solitude better than those who don't succeed. Those who can bear solitude usually have great ambitions, lofty ideals, clear thinking, and continuously enrich their knowledge towards their goals. When opportunity knocks, they reveal their talents, seize the moment without hesitation, and shine. ZIYA once said, "Only through enduring solitude can we have the capacity to create prosperity and welcome abundance." 2. A touch of foolishness, a dash of madness. If you're not foolish or mad, no one will know your name. Without madness and foolishness, there's no way to achieve greatness. This comes from ZIYA's Qi Fu, suggesting that a bit of foolishness and madness is necessary in life. Being foolish means sticking to your beliefs, working hard for what you love, and persisting toward your goals. Always focused and never forgetting ensures your talents will surely make a splash. As for madness, it's about keeping faith in your dreams and pursuing your own talents because confidence is the ultimate secret to success. It's said that everyone chasing a dream has their moments of foolishness and madness, and every successful person has their share of craziness. Indeed, the foolish and mad often have their own beliefs, which help them ignore others' opinions. Like ZIYA, who fished with a straight hook while others laughed, he remained silent, not because he aimed to catch fish, but because he believed his intended catch would surely bite. This embodies the saying, "Others laugh at me for being crazy, but I laugh at them for not seeing the truth." Hence, being 3 parts foolish and 7 parts mad often brings one closer to success. 3. Speak wisely. Sometimes it's best to keep your mouth shut and choose your words carefully. This famous quote from ZIYA in Tai Gongjin Gui advises King Wu of Zhou has been passed down to today, meaning one should be cautious with their words. Throughout history, successful individuals have valued the art of speaking, and even Confucius said, "Be cautious with your words and keen and agile in your actions." The saying, "disaster comes from the mouth," warns that careless speech can hurt others and bring trouble upon oneself. Thus, cultivated individuals refrain from speaking recklessly without basis. They think carefully, are mindful, restrain themselves, and do not babble on. They don't boast or show off. The wise speak with their minds, not just their mouths. Before any conversation, think about what to say, what not to say, when and how to say it. Remember, every word you utter can either build you up or bring you down. Just as you shouldn't eat carelessly, you shouldn't speak without thinking. In life, we should hold back hurtful words, maintain a standard for our attitude, which is a crucial rule in dealing with others. 11. The wisdom of patience. Lessons from Confucius and his disciples. Confucius once said, "Do not rush or chase minor gains. Rushing can spoil things. Chasing small benefits won't lead to great achievements. You cannot blindly pursue speed or be swayed by immediate profits. Gradual accumulation leads to lasting wealth and success. Taking your time and being thorough is the first step to success." ZIYA, one of Confucius's students, held a local government position. He was frustrated by the slow progress of his work, so he sought advice from Confucius, hoping for some guidance. Confucius told him, "Since you've chosen the path of governance, you should be patient, look at the big picture, and move forward steadily. Don't rush because of small, immediate gains. Haste not only prevents you from going far, but could also cause you to lose what you currently have." After hearing Confucius's advice, ZIYA had an epiphany. He returned to his duties with a new dedication, focusing on his work without the impatience for quick results. Eventually, he achieved significant success. Most people who seek quick success don't have a long-term plan and lack the perseverance needed to achieve their goals. If you desire lasting prosperity, understand that haste does not bring success. Hasty decisions can lead to mistakes. During the Ming Dynasty, a local official known for handling legal cases had a unique approach. When people came to him with complaints, if he didn't see the matter as urgent, he'd tell them to come back the next day. Over time, people mocked him for being lazy and neglectful. However, they didn't realize that those who came with complaints were often acting out of momentary anger. After a night to think it over, many would reconsider their actions. Deciding the next day gave both parties time to reflect, allowing the official to avoid wrongful judgments. Being careful and not rushing can prevent unnecessary mistakes. To make wise decisions, one must first calm the mind and then consider the situation carefully. Only then can a wise decision be made. Historically, while many have eagerly sought success, others have planned meticulously, preferring a slow and steady approach to outdo their rivals. Zhuge Liang wasn't hiding away because he lacked ambition. On the contrary, his great ambitions required him to wait for the right moment and the right person to support in achieving a grand cause. When Liu Bei sought his assistance, Zhuge Liang's repeated refusals were tests of Liu Bei's patience and respect for talent. Slowness is a form of wisdom, using calm to overcome chaos. Modern life is complex and bustling. Every day we face numerous challenges that can disrupt our peace. By stabilizing our spirits and maintaining a calm mind, we can accurately assess situations and make decisions that are efficient and effective. 12. Sharp grass lesson. There are no shortcuts to success without hard work. Anyone who wants to achieve something has to put in a lot of effort, fail many times, and through that, gain valuable experience for the future. At a concert, a musician captivated the audience with his exceptional performance. After the show, a music critic approached him to congratulate him, calling him a rare genius of the century. The musician responded, "Everyone likes to use the word genius for my successful performances, but they don't realize how hard a genius has to work to earn that reputation." The rule of sharp grass. In the African savanna, there's a plant known as sharp grass, also called the king of the plains. But its growth process is very different from other plants. For the first 6 months, sharp grass is almost the shortest grass, barely growing in spring. It looks weak and pitiful, with hardly any signs of growth. However, after 6 months, with the arrival of the rainy season, the sharp grass shoots up as if by magic. It grows rapidly every day, and in just a few days, it can reach over 2 meters tall, forming a solid wall of grass. Why does sharp grass grow so fast? In the first half of the year, while other plants were hastily growing, sharp grass took a different path. It continued to extend its roots deep into the soil. Studies show its roots can go as deep as 28 meters. Thanks to these deep roots, sharp grass can absorb more nutrients and water from the soil. It seems to grow leisurely, but it's actually silently paving the way for its future, calmly gathering strength and waiting for the right moment, which is a heavy rain. Sharp grass focuses on inward growth. While other plants are swaying and catching everyone's eye, sharp grass isn't affected and doesn't compete with others. It concentrates on accumulating for itself and grows steadily. When the heavy rain finally comes, sharp grass unleashes the power it has been accumulating for so long. It stands tall against the rain and wind, quickly creating a miraculous scene. To most people, it seems like sharp grass grows quickly in a short time, but they don't see how deeply its roots cling to the soil, allowing it to grow rapidly while resisting the storm. The story of the talented musician and sharp grass both remind us that the success and miracles we admire come from our own efforts. We don't have to worry that our efforts aren't rewarded immediately, as they are gradually accumulating for the future. The biggest difference between success and failure isn't in IQ or ability, but in perseverance and persistence. The great poet Tagore once said, "Light is right in front of you. If you can endure the pain and walk through the darkness, your burden will become a gift, and your suffering will light your path." May those pursuing their ideals, no matter what hardships they face in life, turn them into a guiding light for the future, illuminating their own path ahead. 13. Confucius taught 5 essential principles for achieving great things. 1. Avoid short-term gains to not miss out on bigger opportunities. During the late Qing dynasty, a businessman faced ruin due to a mistake in his ventures and urgently needed a significant capital to rebuild his business. He approached Hu Shuiyan, the owner of a bank, to sell all his assets at a lower market price. Hu Shuiyan, after verifying the businessman's situation, bought the assets for even more than their market value. The businessman was puzzled why Hu Shuiyan didn't seize the opportunity for personal gain. Hu Shuiyan replied, "Don't worry, I'm just holding these assets temporarily. You can redeem them whenever you overcome this hurdle." Thanks to Hu Shuiyan's timely support, the businessman overcame his difficulties and later became a business partner. This story illustrates Hu Shuiyan's wisdom in foregoing immediate profit for a long-term partnership. Successful people resist short-term temptations to achieve greater goals. 2. Patience is key. Without it, big achievements are hard to come by. Success requires enduring minor setbacks. In 100 BC, to mend relations with the Xiongnu, Emperor Wu of Han sent more than 100 envoys to the Xiongnu. Despite being tempted with riches to betray Han, envoy Su Wu refused and was imprisoned. After enduring hard labor in exile, Su Wu returned home over 15 years later, proving the value of patience in mastering one's fate. 3. Maintain integrity. Confucius emphasized never to be deceitful. A story tells of a merchant who promised a fisherman 100 taels of gold for rescue from drowning but reneged once safe, offering only 10. When the merchant again faced danger, no one came to his aid, leading to his demise. This teaches that losing trust once can result in lifelong distrust. 4. Think carefully before making decisions. Great achievements require discipline and self-control. A successful business owner shared his rule against making decisions under the influence, emphasizing the importance of vigilance against temptations and mistakes. Self-mastery is crucial for strong individuals. 5. Ambition is necessary for everyone. In 1483, Wang Yongming questioned the ultimate value of life, challenging the conventional ambition of officialdom. He believed the first step should be to become a virtuous person. Wang Yongming's childhood thoughts on ambition, proving his early wisdom, highlight the importance of ambition as a guide in life's complex realities, avoiding detours and enhancing goal achievement. 14. Training a fighting rooster. Chuang Tzu tells a story about training a fighting rooster. Ji was raising a fighting rooster for the great king, who was quite fond of rooster fighting and hoped Ji could train an exceptional rooster that could quickly enter battle. After 10 days, the king inquired, "Is my rooster ready for battle?" Ji replied, "Not yet. The rooster is still too proud and aggressive, always ready to challenge others with its wings spread and eyes flashing. Most people would think such a rooster would be ideal for fighting, but those who truly understand rooster training know it's not ready." Another 10 days passed and the king asked again. Ji answered, "Still not ready. Although it's less aggressive now, it still reacts instantly to other roosters, wanting to fight. So it's not yet time." After another 10 days, the king inquired, and Ji maintained, "Not yet. While it's less reactive to external things, resentment still lingers in its eyes. We must wait longer." 10 more days passed, and upon the king's inquiry, Ji finally said, "It's ready now. Other roosters can stir up trouble, but it pays them no mind. What's it like now? It's like what people say, dumb as a wooden rooster." Ji explained, "This rooster has been trained to be like a wooden rooster, inward-looking and at the peak of its character. It looks within itself, so when it stands there, any rooster that sees it will feel confused and flee. Now it's suitable for competition." We often think a fighting rooster should be like a valiant warrior, full of vigor, strong will, and a determination to win at all costs. However, Chuang Tzu shows us a higher realm where external pride is stripped away layer by layer, focusing all energy inward. This doesn't mean lacking the will to fight, but directing that will inward, looking into oneself. Only then can one reach the total virtue state, the ultimate realm of a fighter, winning not by technique or strength, but by virtue. 15. Lessons from a martial arts master. Most of your happiness or unhappiness comes from your attitude, not from your circumstances. Martha Washington. A 10-year-old boy decided to learn judo despite having lost his left arm in a car accident. He started training with a Japanese martial arts master. Believing he had been diligent and was making progress, The boy was puzzled why, after 3 months, the master had only taught him one judo move. Finally, unable to hold back his curiosity any longer, the boy asked his teacher, "Why can't I learn other moves?" The master replied, "This is the only move you need to learn." Though he didn't fully understand his teacher's words, the boy trusted him and continued to practice. Several months later, the master took him to a judo competition. The boy was surprised to win easily in the first 2 rounds. The third match was tougher, but eventually, his opponent became impatient, allowing the boy to skillfully use his one move to win. Still amazed at his own success, the boy confidently entered the finals. This time, his opponent was bigger, stronger, and more experienced. Early in the match, the boy was getting dominated. After the first round, fearing the boy might get hurt, the referee suggested ending the match early, but his master refused, let him continue. As soon as the match resumed, his opponent made a grave mistake by underestimating him and losing guard. Immediately, the boy used his one move to throw his opponent to the ground and secure a hold on him. The boy won the championship. On their way home, the master and student reviewed every match. Finally, gathering his courage, the boy asked, "How could I become the champion with just one move?" "You won for 2 reasons," his master replied. "First, you almost mastered one of the most powerful moves in judo. Second, the only way to counter that move is to grab your left arm, which you do not have." Sometimes what seems like a weakness in someone can become their strongest asset. Having strengths is good, but turning a weakness into an advantage is truly remarkable. Believe in yourself. You can do anything. 16. What is growing up? What does it mean to grow up? Is it gray hair, wrinkles around the eyes? No, it's none of these. Changes in appearance are just signs of passing time, but true maturity is never something you can just see. Perhaps maturity is like a ripe plum, soft, with a sweet flavor. We often think that with age comes maturity of the soul, but that's not always the case. Maturity is like repeating life's lessons over the years. It's the calm after longing, a smile after tears of pain, an inner drive to rise after failures. True maturity has never been about age, nor tied to time, but in finding inner peace and tranquility. Maturity is like the moon shining through clouds, a dragon soaring through stormy weather, being at one with the earth, like a fish effortlessly moving with the wind towards the sky. During the Northern Song dynasty, a great poet named Su Shi faced many life storms but maintained his composure and joy in suffering. Su Shi was honest and straightforward. Demoted for criticizing the salt tax policy of Wang Anshi, he moved to Huangzhou. In a small, simple room by the river with no money or food, Su Shi had to farm the land himself. Despite his hardships, he never let poverty compromise his integrity and remained joyful in his small riverside home. In Huangzhou, Su Shi lived a simple life, reading, writing poetry, painting, and calligraphy, building his house, growing vegetables, digging wells and farming, enjoying the idyllic scenery. Despite the hardship of his exile, he grew fond of this desolate place and devoted much of his time to poetry and painting, earning the admiration of later generations. If growing up is like trees blooming, then maturity is the fruiting process. From seedlings to blossoming flowers, each plant grows and develops, but not every flower bears fruit, just as not growing up guarantees maturity. Maturity is a state of being, like finding light in the darkness for oneself. When fog obscures the path, the mature know to slow down, find peace, and wait for the right moment amid life's tumultuous waves. Mature individuals understand everyone has a purpose. They recognize everyone is complex beyond the surface, with their strengths and weaknesses. As people mature, They learned that life requires forgiving oneself and others, even enemies. The sea accepts 100 rivers for its greatness. Forgiving others' mistakes is also freeing oneself. Life is fleeting. From youth to old age in an instant, a mature heart doesn't dwell on temporary gains or losses, remaining calm in the storm, steadfast in the rain. Age is seen on the outside, but maturity is an inner quality. Mature individuals possess a serene spirit. Maturity is like a river that quietly gathers strength at night, outwardly calm but inwardly powerful, capable of cleansing everything. If each person has an aura, the matures would be white, bright without dazzling, vibrant without showing off, positive without agitation. A mature heart is like water, gentle yet strong, unaffected by joys and sorrows. Maturity isn't about age, but about inner peace and stillness, unaffected by the world's changes, standing firm like a mountain. Growing up and becoming mature is a personal journey of self-improvement and reflection, a state of being alive. On the road to maturity, we all face many challenges, but learning from them makes each step a success. 17. Smart people. Don't brag about these 4 things. During the Qing dynasty, Zhuangzi wrote in Dreams of Millet that Journey to the West is an enlightening book. It seems to tell the story of Tang Sanzang encountering demons and spirits on his journey to the West to obtain scriptures. But in reality, it interprets the essence of human life. Each character and every trial in the book embodies wisdom in dealing with others. After reading Journey to the West, we understand that those at a higher level never brag about these 4 things. 1. Don't boast about wealth. As Tang Sanzang and his disciples passed through a monastery, they were warmly received by Elder Jinchi, who, impressed by Tang Sanzang's extraordinary demeanor and assuming he came from a wealthy country, thought Tang Sanzang must possess rare treasures. Tang Sanzang, being humble, would never flaunt his possessions, even if he had any. However, Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, liked to show off and stir trouble. Angered by Elder Jinchi's arrogance, Wukong urged Tang Sanzang to display the magnificent cassock given by the Buddha. Tang Sanzang quickly refused, warning, "Do not compete in wealth with others. We have no kin outside, and it could bring trouble." Ignoring Tang Sanzang's advice, Wukong wanted to flaunt the cassock, which only aroused Elder Jinchi's greed, leading to unnecessary troubles. The saying goes, "A guest keeps his belongings close, and wealth hidden." Flaunting wealth only arouses envy and desire in others and reveals one's shallow spirit. 2. Don't show off your abilities. After becoming a disciple of Bodhi, Sun Wukong diligently learned skills, quickly mastering the cloud somersault and 72 transformations. Once, when practicing alone, his fellow disciples urged him to show off his magical powers. Enjoying attention, Wukong performed his transformations against his master's advice. Bodhi reprimanded him, warning of the dangers of showing off, which could lead to either being forced to share his skills or facing harm. Wukong apologized but didn't take the lesson to heart. Later, his boasting in front of the Buddha led to his imprisonment under Mount Five Fingers. True strength is silent. Even the most talented should learn to assess situations and keep their skills discreet. 3. Don't boast about intelligence. The smartest disciple, Sha Wujing, impressed with his gentle and honest demeanor, was actually very thoughtful and understood how to behave with others. He never flaunted his intelligence, only stepping forward when truly necessary. For instance, during the battle with the White Bone Demon, Sha Wujing stayed silent and uninvolved, maintaining his dignity. Later, when captured by the Yellow Robe Demon, and Sun Wukong was called for help, Sha Wujing humbly said, "A gentleman doesn't bring up past grievances," resolving any conflict with Wukong with grace. His ability to assess situations and act without showing off earned him Tang Sanzong's trust and affection. 4. Don't brag about your contributions. When Sun Wukong wreaked havoc in heaven, Erlang Shen captured him with help from the Old Supreme. Recognized by the Jade Emperor, Erlang Shen humbly credited Guan Yin and the Old Supreme for the victory, sharing his rewards with his subordinates. He then retired quietly, embodying the principle that one should lead in times of trouble and share credit for successes. True merit lies in sharing achievements and bearing hardships first. As Laozi said, "One who gives life does not possess it, one who achieves does not dwell on it." True quality is an effort without boasting and contribution without arrogance. 18. Lessons on arrogance in Eastern and Western cultures. People with arrogant hearts often rely on their own advantages, be it material or spiritual, to place themselves above others, sometimes without even realizing it. However, if this attitude grows, it can become very dangerous. During the spring and autumn period, the state of Qi experienced a famine, leading to widespread death. Kiem Ngo, a wealthy man at the time, decided to cook and distribute rice to the poor out of goodwill. Day by day, people from various places came to receive Kiem Ngo's rice, thanking and praising his virtue. Over time, this made him overly proud, leading him to become arrogant and look down on others. One day, Kiem Ngo saw a man weakened from hunger and disdainfully offered him rice, saying, "Hey you, come here and eat." To his surprise, the man glared at Kiem Ngo and proudly replied, "It's because I don't want to accept rice from someone who speaks like you that I ended up like this." The man walked away and soon after died of hunger. Only then did Kiem Ngo regret, realizing that although he meant no harm and wanted to do good, his arrogance unintentionally hurt others' pride, turning his good deed into a bad one. Arrogance is not only a way to turn good into bad, but also a fundamental reason for failure. There's a saying, "Know yourself and you will win all battles." Arrogant people often center themselves, underestimating those around them and their opponents, leading to downfall, as seen with Hongwu losing the empire and Quanwu losing Jingzhou due to their pride. Arrogance can also lead to prejudices, which are dangerous because they make people believe only in their experiences and knowledge, dismissing anything else. This narrow-mindedness can make people think they are superior, similar to a frog in a well. Both Western religions and Eastern teachings warn about the dangers of arrogance. In Christianity, demons are often fallen angels, with Lucifer being a prime example of falling due to pride, leading to his rebellion against God and becoming Satan. Similarly, in Buddhism, Devadatta, a cousin of Buddha, followed Buddha but could not let go of his arrogance, leading to grave sins and ultimately falling into hell. Because of such profound lessons, both Christianity and Buddhism, as well as cultures from the East and West, see arrogance as a root of all kinds of sins. Christianity identifies 7 deadly sins with pride as one, while Buddhism speaks of 3 major obstacles to spiritual growth: arrogance, jealousy, and desire, highlighting that true religions regard arrogance as the origin of sin. In conclusion, as taught in the Tao Te Ching, the highest good is like water. Water benefits all things without competing, and a truly good person is like water, embracing everyone. The sea is king of 100 rivers because it lies below them. Only by being humble, treating others kindly, and placing oneself behind others without arrogance can one restrain oneself and earn respect. And only by shedding personal biases can one observe the world with reason, understand the true nature of things, reach a high level of wisdom, know oneself and others, and become invincible.
Hey everyone, your comments truly matter, offering insights and motivation to others and uplifting our creative team at Lighthouse of Wisdom channel. Sharing your thoughts and experiences enriches our community. So, let's get the conversation started below and help illuminate our path with your wisdom.